Okay, so I thought I was just recording for a minute. Was not. Anyway, so no, this is not my hair. Today I figured I would do a tutorial on how to cut bangs, but instead of cutting my own and regretting it later, I figured that I would use some extensions, and these are some leftover old extensions that I found, and so I figured I would use these today. I did have some blonde ones, but I decided for the sake of just having more contrast, using these would be more effective. Most commonly, when you see somebody do bangs, they pull the hair straight down and then they cut straight across. And then as soon as they let go, you know, they think it's going to be kind of like right at their eyebrows. It immediately like jumps up like half an inch or an inch depending on their hairline. But your hair doesn't naturally grow straight down. It has cowlicks and widow's peaks. See, I have like a widow's peak and my hair grows out, and right here it starts to grow down, and then this part actually like grows like straight out right here, and then it kind of grows down. Don't judge me, I'm not wearing any makeup. I really haven't worn any makeup pretty much the entire quarantine. So we will be doing the straight down bangs, but we're actually going to do a couple different so that we can get the most out of this hair. So the first one we're gonna do is kind of that pretty common, most people wear, like those swoop bangs, super cute. And then we'll do like the waterfall bangs, most commonly seen on like Renee Zellweger. And then of course the regular old 50s straight across bangs. Yeah, I would look awful with bangs. See, this is why we're using extensions. Alright guys, I've been really bored. I'm so sorry. So I have my trusty shears. These are actually not the ones that I would typically use in the salon, but these are ones that I do use quite frequently. And I guess we'll use this for now. Okay, so alright. So when you're in the salon and you're getting your hair done, you don't see your stylist just take a chunk of hair and whack it right off. Usually they part it off and take smaller sections and start somewhat in the middle, depending on where you part your hair. Starting somewhat in the middle, I usually choose somewhere in this cheekbone area. Immediately your eye is drawn to the shortest piece of hair closest to your face, whether that be like up here or at your cheek. A lot of women think that putting it at your chin and then you see like all this double chin area. I try to recommend as much as possible to steer clear of this area, especially in my older clientele, and raise that up a little bit, whether that, you know, shortening the back of their hair and bringing the eyesight up, or like having some sort of swoop, or having some fringe around their face, or whatever, you know, works for best for their face shape. So I'm so sorry that this is extensions. It's like really ridiculous and not quite the greatest. Okay, so pulling this over, checking the length, pulling it back over, and point cutting into it. That diffuses the line, a little bit deeper point cutting. Diffusing the line, distributing the weight. Obviously these are extensions, so they're going to be extremely thick. And this also creates a little bit more shortness, so you want to go a little bit longer, because as you point cut into it, it is going to take it a little bit, not a lot, shorter. And these are deep point cuts. My shears are completely in. And this is still over directed. I have not pulled this back over. So when I pull this back over, it should have, mind you, this is extension hair and it's all bunched together. Jeez Louise. So I'm trying to really kind of take some hair out. On your hair, really, once you see some of the weight coming out, it gets a little bit more evenly distributed. And you can just see it move better. Gosh. Okay. We're going to move on to the next section. You shall see. This is going to be fabulous. Don't judge me. So, taking my next section, and I'm going to connect it to the longest piece on my last section. Going a little bit longer each time. This is going to create that swoop. Point cutting all the while. So, point cut the actual length, and then point cutting a little bit deeper, and then recombing, redistributing, and then deep point cutting to get rid of that heavy weight on the ends, creating more movement, more flow. By the way, I figured you guys would really like this music. I don't normally listen to it. Oh, see, look, it's already looking better. Oh, look at my cute little quilt. Hey, guys. Alright, now let's pull this last little bit. Okay. So, same thing. I don't know if you can actually see this. Can you see what I'm doing? Point cutting. See, as I point, I go in, and then as I'm coming out, I'm closing the shears. I don't go in and close the shears. You're gonna get a hole that way. Okay, and I'm pulling it back up. Point cutting into it a little bit deeper. Breaking up that line a little bit more. This is gonna be so cute. I just can't even right now. Oh yeah, this needs some blending. When I was in 5th grade, we had this artist come into our elementary school. I cannot remember his name, but the one thing I remember very distinctly about when he came in was shade, 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 shade. And the whole time while we were there drawing, he would constantly talk about shading. Well, now I'm doing this with blending. Blend, blend, blend. Okay. And see, like as it's straight down, it's not quite swoopy, but as you bring it over, it starts to really swoop. And I can even, now that I've got my shape in there, see how it's a little bit heavy and it doesn't really quite swoop? I can go back to this first section over direct it some more. See where I want it to hit. Create a little bit more shortness here to create a little bit better swoop. Oh, this is cute. Okay. Don't judge my glasses either. They're like from when I was 16. So, alright. So you guys got the basic concept. Obviously, without styling this and going back through it, it's just going to lay in my face, so I'm going to get it out of my way for now while I work on the other side. Alright. This is fun. Okay. Alright. So on to the next side. Actually, I do need one piece from the shortest. Alright, so this is going to be my guide for this section. Obviously, this is going to split. So if I pull these two here, and we're just going to demonstrate, and cut it off, and then I take my two sections and then pull them down. This one hits right above my lip, but this one hits all the way at my chin, because this one is traveling a lot shorter distance from here to here, and then this one from here all the way to the other side of my face is traveling a much longer distance. So when you pull them up, they're the same length, but when you put them down, this one's longer. So in order to create them the same length, go right above the lip, just kind of scissor your way down. Don't cut yourself while you're doing this. I am a professional. Some of you may not be. Okay. The reason I'm really doing this tutorial is most people get their hair cut every 4 to 6 weeks if they have short hair, every 8 to 10 weeks if they have long hair. Hold on. So before I make this cut, I'm pulling it forward, over directing it out, and I'm going to slide, and this is going to start my shape, and then we'll over direct it and get some more of that weight out later. But I just want to start creating this shape. Because we are working with less hair on this side, we don't need to over direct it nearly as much. We can get most of our shape this way just by doing some simple slide cutting. There's a split end. Goodbye, split end. So we have the simple shape. It is still longer, as you can tell. So at least we've got the basic shape in there a little bit. So me turning my head doesn't help. Can you even see? No. So we're point cutting. There we go. Alright, now working higher up the hair strand, point cutting into it, just diffusing the line, and then going in even deeper and taking the weight out. And do not overdo this, otherwise you will end up having shorter hair. Only go where, in between the area where it looks darker. So let's start right in there. Oh, cute. Alright, let's check. So obviously this is probably not going to be done. Well, we lost that clip. Aw, look, we have swoop bangs. So, checking my work, I would say this probably is a little heavy still. See, look, it starts to swoop. And this would look a lot better on natural hair, obviously not being pinned directly to the front of your head. If I went ahead and styled it and actually like flat ironed it instead of it being like smashed in a box. So let's pause it for just a second, style it. I'll be back. Okay, so this is the result. See, you got this little swoop here. I did have to go back through and texturize it a little bit more off camera just to get that little swoop. But it's really cute. So this is the swoop. Okay, so on to the next one. The next one we're gonna do is going to be the waterfall bang, which is the like Reese Witherspoon, like short in the middle, and then it kind of comes down and it kind of like frames her face real cute on the sides. Zooey Deschanel does this one also. She's pretty well known for that, obviously. So why don't we start this tutorial? So as far as starting, usually what I do is look at the face. So obviously you'd be looking and you want to be able to actually see. So it is going to start pretty much the same as the like straight across bang. Actually, you do see a lot of people do this where they comb everything down straight, comb it down straight, and then they take it and they twist it a bunch of times and then they cut it, and then they think that, oh, well, I cut it, so it should be short in the middle, and then these two pieces on the outside should be longer, but instead they have this weird split, they have this heaviness, it doesn't actually lay flat. Technically that should work. Actually, let's do it. We're gonna do it. Why not? It's gonna look really great on these extensions. So the goal is to twist, creating shortness on the middle, length on the outsides, and we'll go with the length here. Obviously this is something you see pretty common on YouTube, where as soon as they let go, they freak out, start crying. Obviously they can't get through the thickness of their hair because they're usually using kitchen scissors. They cut their finger, they start crying because they destroyed their hair. One side's longer than the other side's shorter. They don't know how to fix it. Obviously it took a little bit more than one single cut when I did it, and I'm using professional shears. So here we go. Alright, so here we are. We've got it shorter in the middle, longer on the sides, and obviously a hot mess. So you're here, you're crying, you're upset, you're, oh my gosh, what did I just do to my hair? I'm laughing because my hair just shrunk from here to here because I have a widow's peak and I didn't know that that was going to bounce. So now I'm laughing, and I also cut my finger off because I'm not a hairstylist and I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. So here I am. Go back to the shears. Don't cut the length. So just like the last episode, the last tutorial, you go back in and you point cut the ends. Pretty much staying at the base of the hair the entire time. Going straight up and down. Not like this, not like this. Straight up and down. You're cutting the least amount of hair while doing this. Below your fingers. Do not cut your fingers. Creating spaces in between each hair. Allowing the light to come through. This is also going to create movement. Pulling it out away from your face creates movement. This is going to be shorter than this as you cut. So it creates that little swoop that you want. Because nobody wants bangs that stick straight out from their face. That looks ridiculous. Constantly moving up further and further away from the face. Each time this hair gets darker as I pull it up because there's more volume in here. Volume of hair, the amount of hair. And just point cutting through all that darkness, all that depth. Oh yeah, so back to why I'm doing this tutorial, because most people, they get their hair cut every 4 to 6 weeks. If you have short hair, if you have long hair, you're getting your hair cut every 8 to 10 weeks. And if you have bangs, you're cutting them every 2 to 4 weeks, depending on what kind of bangs you have. If you have bangs like this, you're getting them cut every 4 weeks. If you have straight across bangs, you are getting those cut every 4 weeks. We have been on quarantine since, gosh, a month and a half. Has it been a month and a half yet? I don't even know. So this is why this tutorial is happening. Okay, so we point cut through. Obviously it's still really thick and it's laying flat to my head and it's still really long. Look how long. But I haven't styled it. If you put a little bit of a bend in there and create a little bit of height, obviously your hair does not grow straight onto your face. So as you put a little bit of bend, it's going to go up. You don't want it to be up here. You want it to be right here. So it's only about a half an inch, really, an inch. Let's go to this side. This side needs a little more help. All the while point cutting. My dog is dreaming right now, probably of squirrels and running, but it's really cold outside, so he's taking a nap. Alright, I'm gonna look at this in the mirror, style it a little bit, and come back to you. Okay guys, I'm actually pretty excited about these, because they're like super cute. It's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, you can see some of my blonde hair kind of sticking through underneath, but I kind of feel like they're like brunette colored, like Cinderella. They're super cute. Like, you can like part them this way. They're super fringy. And this is just, I had to go back in and texturize some more just because it is extension hair and it's super thick. But see how it now lays like just over my eyebrows right here and then kind of comes down on the edges, and on natural hair it would like swoop out a lot prettier. Obviously this is really adorable extension hair. Okay, so, okay, I'm just playing now. Okay, so now for the super fun straight across bangs. We're already mostly there. Gosh, I think this is going to be extremely hard to do on camera and with my glasses on. And I'm going to cut that piece off. That'll be fun. So, see, I keep trying to pin it. Please, this pin. It's like my last pin. I could only find 6 hairpins. Wait, maybe I found a few more after that. At first, I could only find 6 hairpins in my entire house. Yay, I'm such a great hairdresser. I'm just kidding. Okay, so for this portion, on natural hair, you're going to want to do it dry in the natural state that your hair is going to be in, as it would always be. And I would always start a little bit longer than what your ideal goal is going to be, and just be super conservative as far as your trims, because you may think that this much is a little bit, and then as soon as it bounces, it becomes this much. So you really just got to take tiny pieces. Start long, kind of in here. I wouldn't start down here. That just leaves too much excess to deal with later. So I would start kind of like right below your eye line, and see how much it bounces. And another technique is don't smash it directly to your face, because if you smash it directly to your face, cut it to here, it's going to bounce to here, regardless of how straight your hair is, whatever. It's just going to happen. So you're going to want to take your hair and actually use your comb as your guide. I'm left-handed, so take your comb your hair straight all the way across. Most videos, obviously this is extension hair, so it's not going to be perfect as far as parting goes. As far as parting, I haven't really talked about that the entire time, just because it is extension hair. You really only want to go kind of back to here as far as your bangs. You really don't want to go all the way back here, depending on how thick your hair is, depending on how much hair is actually like in the bang area once you pull it out. You definitely want to have a pretty decent amount so you can get full coverage across your forehead. And then as far as parting out, no further than your eyebrow. So if you take your comb and you follow it up to your part line, so you would actually like put your comb here, and then you would part down to your eyebrow and pull forward. Anything behind that, take back. Same thing on this side. Obviously for this tutorial today, we're using a little bit different. So yes, you definitely want, that's gonna get cut off too. This is fun. So you definitely want a sizable amount of hair, but you don't want to take away from what's back here. Obviously I have a ton of hair, so that would not be an issue. But for some people, they have super thin hair, they have fine hair, they have curly hair. Everybody's hair is super different. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start, obviously. So like I said, comb here, use your comb as your guide, and just cut straight across. Obviously in the middle there's not going to be any hair. So your comb is going to be your guide. Your comb is going to make sure that this hair is the same length as this hair as you go straight across the comb. You're not using your fingers, you're not cutting your fingers. My boyfriend just came upstairs and he is extremely confused what's happening.
That's not real.
Shh. No one knows.
Who are you talking to?
Shh. Alright, so back to the other side.
Oh my god, there's so much hair in here.
Babe, calm down. Alright.
I love it.
Okay. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this on camera, just because it's extremely difficult to see without a mirror. Alright. I'm going to have to do it this way. I need a mirror. Okay. We're going to have to just pull it out, see what happens. It's much easier to do this with a mirror. See, obviously it's longer. I'm gonna get it in my eye. There we go. Point cutting right now at natural fall. That is keeping it nice and thick. You want to keep this nice and thick. Obviously we need to do some restyling on this side. Because usually if you have a straight across bang, you want it to be nice and thick. And there we go. That's better.
I'm next.
He wants his hair done next. Okay. So point cutting at natural fall, keeping it nice and thick right there, other than diffusing the line on the ends. Okay. Alright, I need to restyle this, so I'll be just right back. Okay guys, so these are not super fun to do with extensions, partially because, well, some of my fringe is now this length, but that's fine. It'll grow back eventually, like in 6 years, whatever. So some key points to take away from trying to do this at home